sound frequencies to neutralize it. So if you feel called, definitely join us for that. All right, so let's get started, guys. How is your week going? How are your practices? If you have any questions, please put them in the chat in capital letters so that I can distinguish them from other comments and answer them quickly. So let's go over here. We are doing our 11-day Laws of the Universe challenge. And today I'm going to do part 1 of the law of accident. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that. But tomorrow I'm going to do part 2, in which we're going to deep dive into how to integrate this law into our lives, essentially how to transcend that law. It's one of the most powerful laws that we experience as spiritual beings in 3D, in the physical. And so what happens when we are experiencing the law of accident is that it's always a shakeup. It's like a wake-up call that wakes up out of our state of hypnosis into a state of awareness. And the purpose of that is because our physical body is realigning back to the vibrational frequency of the collective. Okay, so anytime that our organism comes out of balance with the universal energies, then it requires a wake-up call, because energetically it needs to completely shift. Okay, so this is something that we need to really understand to figure out what we need to do. And I'm going to talk today about contractual agreements. Essentially, what are those contractual agreements? How do we make them, and how do we transcend them? So let's get started. When we incarnate into this physical body, we are essentially experiencing, it's to experience. And through this law of experience, anytime that we are triggered in our experiences, it creates an alchemical process in the body. Vibrationally, chemically, and emotionally, our vibrational frequency lowers, and all of the organs in the body align with that as well. Okay, so when we maintain these low vibrational frequencies over a long amounts of time, what happens is that our vortex, the spin of our body, begins to move in a way that is counterproductive to the system, to the greater whole. And essentially what ends up happening is that the body begins to start to get little constant anxieties. We start running cortisol, stress hormones through the body that create inflammation. And all of these things start to take the body gently out of balance over time, over that repeated stress over and over again. So essentially what we want to understand is, how do we pause in order to, when the trigger is occurring, we begin to observe the body and be able to understand that we have a choice right in between that moment before we respond to this reaction. Okay, so we want to kind of work with that, and that is what our conscious awareness is for. Now, the other part of this is working on how we are working with the energy fields and the contracts. When you incarnate into the physical body, you are aligning to the ancestral DNA, okay? The lineage that connects you to all of your ancestors. And as you know, as those of you that have been working with me and watching these lives, our ancestral lineage is encoded specifically with information as a vibrational frequency that we come into resonance with. So everything that we are and everything that we are coming into or becoming is essentially attracting us to this lineage in order to experience the things that we need to experience in order to transcend them. So it's a very powerful existence, in other words, and we need to understand that. We need to understand that the choice of coming into this lineage is providing an opportunity for your soul to experience the lowest aspect of the physical and the highest. Okay, now in our society, in our world, we're not taught about how to cultivate that highest cultivation of the physical. And so that's what all of these videos are about, is to understand that there is a certain mechanism to this organism. When we learn how to use the technology of this physical body, we can not only transcend, but we transmute, we alchemize these lower vibrational side effects in the physical body in order to make them and cultivate a powerful vortex flow in the body that is now manifesting and has mastery over the physical. And that's what we want to achieve essentially. The opposite of that, what that looks like, is that the body comes into a state of contraction. And the state of contraction cannot create, our vortex isn't spinning, the body becomes ill, sick, and we just completely fall out of alignment. But the thing is that I want to mention in this law of accident, essentially, is that anytime that we fall out of alignment, there is also a kind of a natural order, okay? On the highest level, there is always a natural order, because we incarnate into the physical in the three-dimensional plane for the purpose of experience. And you can't experience these things if you are not able to be in the body fully, okay? And to experience the highs and lows. That's the whole point. It's an invitation into the alchemical transmutation of this physical body. So the law of accident is essentially any time that we are moving through this cycle of universal experience, and any time that we are experiencing the ebb and flow of vibrational frequency. So I'm going to go ahead and share just a tiny, I want to share some slides with you about this concept to help give us some visual context into what I mean about how the law of accident actually manifests into the physical, okay? So let's go over here to looking at the natural flows of life force of the universe. Because the law of accident is all about vibrational frequency, okay? Anytime that we fall out of alignment with certain vibrational frequencies that we are moving through collectively, we begin to experience the lowest expression of this dimension. So it's a vibrational frequency game, you can say, okay? Remember that this entire universe is functioning through the intelligent design of a spiral. Because when a spiral is coiled, the massive amounts of coiling that we experience, we are essentially holding massive amounts of information that are multidimensional. And you're experiencing these things in many dimensions. That's another thing I want to mention. You are experiencing these things in many dimensions simultaneously. We know about the sequences and the natural order of the universe because they are self-organizing by the Fibonacci sequence. Okay, the Fibonacci sequence essentially is looking at how information is self-organized in this coil manner. And essentially what that's doing is that all the organisms that experience through this phase of existence are encoded by certain mathematical structures that make up your architecture. And I talked about this a couple days ago, but essentially the physical body is aligning with, it's through the morphogenetic field, it comes into form based on the information of the universe. Okay, so looking at this spiral here, we're looking at how information is coiling from the 8th to the 13th to the 21st. And our bodies match the access of information, that the accessibility to information that is available to us, okay? So collectively, everyone on this planet right now, we're moving through the 13th into the 21st, okay? And as we continue to move through this spiral, everything in the universe is spiraling like this, constantly moving like this. We also shift, our body changes. So if you were to take a look at organisms that existed here centuries ago, the construct of their multidimensional body would be different, which means that they're able to access certain waves of frequency and not access other waves of frequency. Okay, we go through this evolution. We see it in our world through technology evolution, through the evolution of science, through the evolution of medicine, through the evolution of even spirituality. And we have seen that in the history of our human race and its own evolution. Okay, we see those patterns. If you understand how to read the language of frequency, you understand why we have evolved in the order that we have. And we can also see that the progression if you look at ancient cultures. Okay, if you look at ancient civilizations, how they have also progressed. And what we notice are very interesting patterns, rise and falls in these civilizations, of high levels of cultivation of intelligence and technology, and then there's a shift. Okay, so we are essentially moving through that. All the organisms, imagine that this little sphere of little spheres are all the humans, the human organisms that participate in here. So actually, remember that it's a fractal design, which means self-similar patterns. Okay, so in this construct here, you can imagine this to be all of the different universes, and then within each one of these spheres, all of the galaxies within those universes, and then even deeper within those spheres, all of the organisms participating to the planets, and in the planets, all the humans that reside within the planets. We look like these orbs. We essentially, our entire full expression is like an orb that is interconnected within all of these dimensional layers. Okay, so what that means is that when we make major shifts, when we heal parts of us, when we make major changes in the body, every single one of those changes is affecting the collective field. We are participating to that. We are teeny, teeny, tiny little dots in this tremendous system, but we actually are interconnected because the way that we function is that we exist in all dimensions simultaneously. That's why. So when we make changes in this dimension, we are literally affecting these fractals of ourselves. So the process of the law of accident is something that transcends just this one lifetime that you're having. You are affected by the consequences, cause and effect. What is karma? Cause and effect. We are affected by the consequences of the choices that we're doing in these other dimensional layers, and vice versa. Okay, that's how incredible this system functions. We can see these kinds of self-organizing, intercommunicating systems inside of our human body as well, with our cells. We can see it through communication networks of mycelia under trees. We can see it through communication networks within birds when they're moving, okay? So these kinds of networks through quantum non-locality is where massive amounts of information is passed through a field, which we call the morphogenetic field. What we need to understand about the law of accident is that because we are so deeply interconnected, the awareness of the organism is the key to transcending the repetition of dormant states, okay? Anything that repeats itself is in a state of hypnosis. It's in a state of unconsciousness. Okay? Anytime we go into routine, we become unconscious in that routine. And it's the same with our emotional patterns. It's the same with our traumatic expressions. It's the same with our life experiences. So if you are at a point in your life where you feel completely disconnected, if you feel that you're lost, if you feel that you don't know what is happening, this is an incredible initiation for you to understand that every cell in your body is falling out of alignment with the dormant state that you were once in. It is an awaking state. So what is occurring is the invitation for transformation and change that has to be implemented by opening a higher octave of frequency through your body. And we open higher frequency through the body by expanding fields of our body, by becoming aware of the fields of our body. The expansion of a field is the holding of that vibrational frequency. So if you want to change your frequency, you expand or you contract your fields. If you're in survival and your root sacral chakra is right open, then, you know, this is the frequency of your field. And because it's a dense wave, a lower moving wave, you're not going to be communicating with the higher density frequencies. Okay. So essentially, our bodies are these incredible organisms, fluid mechanisms that are deeply, deeply interconnected with the whole. And what the law of accident is essentially helping us understand. Now, let's talk a little bit deeper about, you know, what we are as an organism. When we're born, the snapshot of the universe is captured within the cells of our body, within the construct of our body. That creates a vibrational frequency that aligns you with the family that you're born into, which means that in a way, you kind of have your life purpose kind of designed for you, okay? And when I say purpose, I use that word cautiously. I'm not talking about, you know, this wonderful identity that you're going to identify with, like as a healer or something like this. I am talking about the soul, the journey that the soul is requesting to take during this extension of existence. And what that's about is a much deeper thing. It's about the awareness of the patterns that we have repeated many lifetimes and the awareness of how to transcend them. That is what we are doing in this life experience. The concept of existing to experience in a three-dimensional plane is to understand how to move through what is encoded in your DNA, because you are a product of all that is encoded in that genetic code. Okay, emotional patterns, traumas, belief systems, all that are embedded within the matrix. Let's say the matrix is holographic construct in which we exist in order to experience, is designed to, as a result of your DNA, it is a holographic expression of that. Okay, so the awareness of yourself, you can, you know, the more you get to know yourself, the more you know yourself and your core patterns, the more you can transcend them. And so this requires, let me walk you through the process. We're going to work through this process tomorrow, okay? Because tomorrow we'll do the workshop of today's lecture. We're also going to do meditation today, but we want to understand everything that triggers us. Number one, the things that are triggering. And as we identify the triggers to get to the root of those programs, and it's all going to trickle down very, very quickly into two main things. Are you operating in a contractive or expansive state? That's all it comes down to. I'm simplifying tremendously, but for you to understand and to not get confused, because it's very easy, because we have so many emotions and we don't know ourselves, and this can seem very overwhelming, but it's actually not. We are simply trying to understand why we go into contraction and why we go into expansion, and simply teaching the organism to gently and compassionately and feeling safe, interconnected, move from that contraction into expansion. The programs, that's the result of that is biochemical, bioelectrical, and it's multidimensional, it's energetic. And the body literally changes its shape, its geometric expression. It changes the way it expresses in this world. It changes the way it exchanges information with its environment. That's the key. So the law of accident, when we go with all this incredible information, we go into dormant states. It means that we have fallen into patterns of repetition. All that we're doing is repeating something that we have learned. It's become comfortable. And for humans, suffering is comfortable. Suffering has become comfortable. That's the thing. And we're programmed to believe that this is true. You simply watch any sitcom, any film. If you carefully observe the characters, the development of the characters are deeply wounded individuals that are struggling, playing out. Many of them don't know themselves. Very, very, very few times you can see a character that has fully got to know themselves. and is acting from a place of awareness. And when there is a character that is seemingly aware, they're falling into archetypal, characters. And what happens with that is that it compartmentalizes the human expression tremendously. We feel that we require a personality, we require an identity in order to survive. That's the programming that we receive. And we receive this programming just in our everyday life, through society, the way that financial systems are set up, the way education is set up, the way food industries and health industries are set up. It's all meant to compartmentalize the way that we perceive. So to remove ourselves from that, it requires a deep connection with yourself in order to understand if you agree, if you are in alignment with your own personality, okay? Because our personality is a survival mechanism. That's the thing we need to understand. The personalities that we create are things that we have adopted, beliefs that we have adopted of behavior in order to survive and to get through situations in our life. Whether we knew how to navigate those unknown experiences, traumas, shocking things that we weren't prepared for, unknown experiences we're not familiar with, we adapt to it based on the information we have within us, and that's it. And if we don't have anything other than that, we just fall into repetition. So what the law of accident does is that, let's talk vibrational frequency. The DNA of the body creates a vibrational frequency. The vibrational frequency of the body, the lower that it gets, the more it falls into the law of accident. Again, let me be clear. The law of accident is any time we are no longer in resonance with the earth, with this greater organism. Okay? There are many layers. So the first is that we're not in resonance with the earth. Okay. And what happens when we fall out of alignment with the earth is that our sleep cycles are off, our organs are not regenerating the way they're supposed to regenerate. We're not eating and processing food the way we're supposed to process. And usually humans will develop parasites. So, they will have parasites in their biome. The biome comes out of alignment and gets sick. So it's like it's wanting sugar all the time, all kinds of things to soothe strong emotional imbalances. This is what happens when you're out of alignment with the earth, with your greater organism, because that's how these levels function. And sleep cycles are off. Sleep is so incredibly important. And it's not just about you waking up in the morning and having energy. It's about the entire half of your existence that is operating. When you sleep, you are leaving the body and you're experiencing much more than you're experiencing in your waking state. And all of it is incredibly important to your spiritual evolution as a soul. And not many people talk about this. But when you leave the body, this is actually where the real stuff is happening. Okay? Because again, remember, we're in a construct. It's kind of like a simulation. It's a hologram of experiences with one purpose per se. But when you're out of your body, you're exploring and you're becoming aware of multiple of these. So your level of awareness, all the work that you're doing in the waking state is affecting those layers. So again, training lucidity. Lucidity is an entire energetic construct. It's a geometric construct in the body. Being lucid in waking state, being absolutely present in every moment, aware of your emotions, self-regulated nervous system, and then being conscious in dream state so that you're lucid, you remember, you understand, you wake up consciousness and you begin to understand how to navigate, okay? And essentially, that dream state is affecting the contracts that you're making in waking state, because you make a lot of agreements in out-of-body experiences too. So those of you that have parasitic contact, entity attachments, attacks, you feel that you're stuck, you're not able to connect to source, wake up consciousness and become lucid in dream state, and your entire body and your life begins to change as well. So the other aspect of connecting with the earth's frequency is that you're heightening your intuitive faculties, which are number one. The intuitive faculties of your body, again, it's an entire geometric structure. Remember, the body looks more like a Merkaba rather than a depleting centrifugal spin of life force. Okay, you come in to be centripetal. Okay, so what happens is that we deplete massive amounts of life force. You're no longer a conduit. We essentially become a black hole. Okay, this is what we end up becoming instead of a white hole. And these functions, we see them in the universe, but you become contracted. You need from the external in order to feed this internal organism. So so the law of accident will create physical wake-up calls for you. And these physical wake-up calls are anytime that a human, you can have a paper clip. It can be as tiny as a paper clip. It can be as tiny as a feeling of sadness or depression even. It can be as big as a major car accident that changes your life. Maybe you have to go through recovery for months. It can be an illness. And the whole point is that the organism needs to wake up. It's in emergency state. The body has an intelligence that transcends your human logic. And so this intelligence is telling you, I need source. Because it's like a water that isn't being, it's like a plant that isn't being watered. Okay, so the plant begins to dry up. And so it's like emergency, need life force. Because again, what happens to the body, let's take a look at the body real quickly. What happens when the body comes out of alignment? Essentially, it looks like this. Okay, so we're operating by the first three chakras, root, sacral, solar, right? Whether we feel safe in the body, our exchanges and relationships, and then the emotional body and empowerment. When we're not in the body, this is the way that someone looks when they're not in their body. They're denying their emotions. They're in a state of resistance. They can't connect to their intuition. They cannot have clear understanding of their purpose. They feel lost and disconnected. So this source cord, the cord that allows life force, pure vital life force to enter into the body, becomes really thin, really thin. Okay, so what happens? The body is sick. For sure, this person has digestive issues, problem, whatever, any kind of illnesses they have in their body, because look where all the energy is going. It's depleting out of the body. Okay, so this person is not holding a conduit. It's not learned how to cultivate life force. Its nervous system is out of balance. Okay, so what happens when they begin to change that? But let's talk for a moment. So this vibrational frequency that emits from this body, this signature that this individual creates, is not matching the universal movements. Okay, so what happens is that it requires an accident. So the next one, we experience the law of accidents in layers. Okay, so once you have the accident, it's bringing you back into the body in order for you to come into meditation, in order for you to connect back with your organs, in order for you to train your intuition. Those are the three main things that have to happen. Return back into your body, full presence, connect with your organs, heal your organs, and begin to train your intuition. Because the intuitive state of the body is immediately this. Okay, when we come into an intuitive reading state, we close the first three chakras. So I train you to open and close them, but these are things that happen naturally in your body. When you tune into your intuition, your root, your sacral solar, they begin to close gently. But you're learning how to master this. Okay, so essentially you open your heart, which is the largest center of coherence, which now connects you to the field, to the morphogenetic field. So now you're starting to get a little bit of that life force in the body. You open your throat, which allows the healing and the integration of the lower dantian, the sexual creative life force, into its vocal vibrational expression. And you cultivate your third eye, which is how you actually see beyond the limited construct, because you're multidimensional. You must be able to have interdimensional navigation and vision. Without that, your organism dies, essentially. And it dies in many levels. There's many ways to be a living dead. Remember, you're depressed, you're disconnected, you're sick. You can live dead many years. There's nothing wrong with that. It is as valid as an experience as someone that is conscious. But everything has cause and effect. So we just need to be aware of what happens when we choose these things. Okay, so the organism essentially that is now moving out into a higher octave is now operating in a more harmonious state, not only with the earth, but with the universe. Okay, so the next thing is, the next level of the law of accident is the person that wakes up consciousness is now in the present moment and becomes aware of now a higher purpose. Okay, so we healed the trauma, we healed all those repetitive programs, and now they're like, okay, now I'm here to be of service. What happens? It keeps going, you know, it does good. Now let's say the ego gets a little involved in this process and they forget what their purpose is. Okay, so again, we're falling asleep. There's many levels to fall asleep. And what happens is that we fall out of alignment once again, and we're falling out of alignment with the universe. Okay, because, and what does this universe mean? I'm actually talking about the morphogenetic field, the whole collective. Don't think about universe as this little sphere, because this is kind of, this visual is just the construct that we created. I'm talking about many interconnected systems of life force. Okay, so when we fall out of alignment with those greater cycles, then again, we have things happen to wake up consciousness back into the individual. So essentially, the beauty of the law of accident, the most beautiful thing about the law of accident is essentially that we see and we kind of understand the dimension that we exist in, the universe that we exist in, is very much like a mother. Okay, we are in the creation, we are in the feminine aspect of the universe. Our multiverse is a feminine creation cycle. That's what we're experiencing collectively. And we see that in everything. We see that in our geometry, in our biology. We see that in the flows of nature. And we also see it in these psychological realms, product of the morphogenetic field, that essentially anytime that its child goes into a state of destruction, it does something to wake the organism back into alignment. Okay, so we essentially are we are lovingly being brought back into that state, I want to say. And I want to make sure that the way when I speak about this, I'm not talking about a greater, higher power outside of us. I'm talking completely about you. You are the creator of your universe. You are the experiencer. And you are the one that actually creates these awakening experiences for you. How do I know this? Working with hundreds of individuals in hypnotherapy, we connect with the higher self. And the higher self begins to say, she forgot who she was. He went back to sleep. He neglected himself. He disconnected from himself. So we had to wake him up. We had to bring him back into the alignment. So this is the law of accident. And please understand that it happens every day in the body. Okay, every day we're experiencing this. Every moment we can fall into the law of accident. Now, through my practice, many years of meditation, what I learned is how to transcend the law of accident. Okay. And I'm going to go in depth about that tomorrow in our life. But what I want to leave you with today is essentially that there are ways to work with this multidimensional body in order to not only bring this body into alignment, but work in the morphogenetic field with all of the vibrational agreements that we made in order to experience waking in dormant states. How to transcend is by breaking the contractual agreements that we make every moment with our choices. When we're in dormant state and we make a choice, there's a consequence, and it's leading in the direction of the accident. When we are in waking state, we make an accident, we are leading in the direction of co-creation. So again, another layer that is implemented on our ability to manifest in this realm and to heal and to expand. So I'm going to take you guys into a meditation now. We're going to do our weekly clearing and realignment so that we can get ourselves into this aligned state. And I'm going to answer questions at the end. Okay. All right. Get nice and comfortable, everybody. I want you all to take a nice deep breath, inhaling deeply. Go ahead and visualize grounding yourself down to the center of the earth. Connect yourself to the vibrational frequency of the planet. Go ahead and begin to shrink the first 3 chakras. We're going to expand the heart chakra. Expand it quite. Okay, open your fields. There's nothing to be afraid of. You are completely empowered state. Expand your throat. Expand your third eye. Breathing deeply down to the base of the spine. We're going to begin by creating a sphere around the body. This is just you becoming aware of your own field. Breathing. Go ahead and bring from the center of the earth a powerful wave of green life force. This is the life force of the earth. Bring it up into the body. This is frequency. Okay, you're going to move it around your body, creating a vortex of energy. Feel that spin. Feel your body spinning, your own vortex. Go ahead and take from source a powerful wave of source, golden light coming down through the crown of your head, combining with that green earth energy. Feeling that spin. Go ahead and take 10% of that back down to the center of the earth. And take 80% of that up your spine from the crown of the head down out through like a fountain, coating the outside of your field. Okay, you're going to neutralize your connection to the matrix, essentially. Breathing. Go back now, take that final 10% of green and gold energy, bring it into the body now, into the core, into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level of the body, breathing, healing this body. This is one of the ways that I'm going to show you tomorrow. When you align with earth and cosmic frequency, you bring your body into alignment. All of the cells come into alignment with this frequency. Breathing. We're going to wake up the organs in the body. So go ahead and bring joy into the organs, almost as if you're making them smile. The stomach, the liver, the spleen, the kidneys, the pancreas, the intestines, large and small. Bring joy into each one of those. Infuse them with healing. Go into your sexual organs. Bring deep joy, healing. Go into your lungs, into your heart now. Breathing. Let's go into the brain, into the spinal cord, infusing with deep joy, deep healing. I'm going to move up into the crown now, the 7th and the 8th chakra. Go ahead and fill this in with your creative color. What is your color that represents your highest vibrational frequency? Fill it in. Breathing. We're going to enter it into the areas of abundance, love, consciousness, harmony, health, career, money, your family, your relationships. And finally, your purpose. Whatever stage of awareness of our purpose we are at. Very good. We're going to begin to work with our contractual agreements. I want you to see a room full of karmic contracts. These are all the agreements that you've made in this lifetime for experiences. And there are also sub-layers of information of contracts and agreements that you've made, many layers that you are making simultaneously. Okay, so go ahead and see all those contracts there. And I want you to shine your crown light on top and just dissolve that room. Clear it out. Just notice if there's other rooms, maybe other rooms can appear to you with contracts. Clear those out. Maybe there's basements, maybe there's attics. That's okay. Just go ahead and look at them and clear them out. Almost as if you're completely dissolving the entire structure of this room, until all you see is the wireframe of light of this room. Nothing else. And what you're going to do is you're going to fill this room and that wireframe with your crown chakra. You are choosing how you are experiencing these agreements. You are choosing how you're expressing them, how you're learning, how you're experiencing them. Because you're consciously aware of your co-creation. Go ahead and allow that room to be filled with this color. Okay, let's go down the hall now into another room. This room is filled with people that are no longer in alignment with us. People that maybe don't have our best interest. Those are karmic relationships. Just go ahead and see a room full of shadows. You don't need to identify who they are. You just need to understand the resonance that brings these beings into our space, both physically and interdimensionally. Go ahead and shine your crown light on these shadows and watch them dissolve, evaporate as the room becomes empty. Very good. I want you to take your attention to your physical body now. I want you to be aware of the cords that you have in your body at this moment. Go ahead and tune in to the cords in your body. Remember, these are cords that we create, whether unconscious or conscious connections to people, places, and things. Just go ahead and visualize that you're calling back your life force from anything that is no longer in alignment with you. You're neutralizing your relationships in order to be fully aware of where your attention is going and why. So just gently see that those cords relay gold energy right back into your body. This is your life force that you're calling back. This is very rejuvenating, very healing, very re-energizing. And allow yourself to eliminate anything that you took on that doesn't belong to you. Go ahead and return back what you took. It doesn't have to be infused with any emotion. It has to be absolutely neutral. Very good. Excellent work. Notice how you feel lighter. Breathing deeply into the base of the spine. Go ahead and tune into the emotions that are currently in your body. Just be aware of the emotion. Be absolutely present. And begin to become aware of the emotions, the sub-emotions that come up. Just observe without judgment. And as you notice the insights that begin to arise as you observe the emotion, you might be aware of other emotions, you might be aware of other beliefs that you begin to see clearly. And I just want you to ask yourself if you're in alignment with these beliefs. Are any of these beliefs contracted? Are they more suppressed? Is there in a state of resistance, fears, anxieties? And what do you need in order to no longer be in a state of contraction? What would the opposite look like, feel like at this time? Go ahead and provide yourself everything that you require in order to transmute this contractive state of belief. Bring that belief system into the core of your body. Go ahead and visualize that you're nourishing your body with compassion, with love, with support at this time. As you begin to clear out all these heavy emotions, bring your body into a neutral state. I'm going to go focus on the root chakra. Go ahead and open that root chakra back into a balanced state. Go up into the sacral chakra. Go ahead and open it back into a balanced state. Go into the solar plexus. Bring it into a balanced state. Into your heart, into your throat, third eye. Go up into the crown. Notice if this color has shifted at all. Go ahead and activate the 9th. Activate the 10th. Activate the 11th. Expanding the 11th body. Remember, these are spheres in your body. This is your own body. Expand the 12th. The 13th. Expanding the 14th. Expanding the 15th. 16th. 16th and the 17th. 19th. 20th. 21. 22. 23. And 24. Above you is a powerful white light of source. I want you to connect up into that white light. Bring it down into your body now. As you anchor it into the core of your body, down through the perineum, into the center of the earth. I want you to see that source cord moving down through the center of your body. And I want you to create that cord that goes through the solar plexus out through the back, connecting around the perimeter of this earth. Okay, and at the axis point at the very center of those two cords, you're going to see a powerful white light. I want you to expand that white light. All around you. Okay, very good. Excellent work. I want you to go ahead and bring yourself back into the room. Go ahead and with your eyes open, see your grounding cord, see your connection to source. Excellent work. You guys did amazing. You guys are beautiful. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Oh my God, you guys are so amazing. I'm just looking at the chat. You guys put so many awesome comments here. Thank you so much. Just diving, Greg Herrera, Marija, Teresa Martinez, thank you so much for that super chat. Thank you so much. Earth Mom, thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate that. Your support is so beautiful. Jay Zen, thank you for the beautiful messages. Love and wisdom. Angie, so great to see you. Thank you for that super chat, my love. So wonderful to have you here. Greg says, I'm told the whole galaxy is spiraling through the universe and through the photon belt. Is this spiral showing us a micro of the macro of the solar system? Yeah, exactly. It's self-similar patterns, right? So these galaxies, so the solar system is inside the galaxy. and the galaxy inside the universe, and the universe inside the multiverse, and all of which are participating in these rotations, in these spiraling motions of contraction and expansion. It's an oscillation, actually. Okay. Yeah, so thank you for that question. Deborah Simpson, thank you for that super chat. Love you. See if I have any questions here. I've been nervous for as long as I remember, and it gets mistaken for confidence because I'm chatty with it. It's why I made bad choices. Oh, okay. In my youth, does this go on once in alignment? Geraldine, does this go once in alignment, Geraldine? Not sure I understand that question, my love. If you want to clarify that for me, Deborah, so I can answer it. Teresa, because thank you so much for that super chat. So generous of you. Much love and thank you for your support. Guys, thank you for joining me today. It was such an honor to be here and working with you. So tomorrow we're going to deep dive into a deep workshop of this law of accident, how to transcend it. We're going to talk about the cores of these things and how to really shift that. Cedric says, is it possible to always remain at a high vibrational state, 90%, as long as one can remember to be aware, be conscious, and more responsive instead of waiting for trauma or something to get our attention? Absolutely. And that's actually the whole point. What happens is, and I'll explain this tomorrow, is that we come into harmony and we come into a beautiful symbiotic relationship with the universe. This is where synchronicities happen. This is where miracles happen. All of those things are actually part of the human superpower in a way. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in depth tomorrow. Thank you so much. You guys have such amazing questions, and I'll dive deep. I hope you have an incredible Sunday. And today is Father's Day. I want to send a very special Father's Day celebration for my own father, who is actually a major spiritual influence for me in my life. He's so magnificent, and I'm so grateful to him. So for all the fathers out there holding space in their families, working so hard to maintain everything in alignment, you guys are so beautiful, and thank you for your service in holding your expression. Okay. Much love to everybody, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much. Much love to you. Bye.